Welcome back. It is Monday once again, and whilst we don't have Necromonday today, we do have a couple of miniatures to look at because Games Workshop have revealed their Warhammer Event commemorative miniatures. So they do a couple of these every year, and frankly it's alarming that there's a new set already because it doesn't feel like it's been that long since we looked at the last ones. But it has been a full year, which just means that time is moving quicker, and that's scary. So, let's have a look at what we've got for this year's offering, shall we? We start out with Skaven Clawlord Kettek Throatbite, which sounds about right for a Skaven, with the remarkably non-specific description of a pair of wickedly sharp weapons. I mean, one of those is clearly a sword, and the other one looks like some sort of claw. But sure, wickedly sharp weapons, why not? Obviously that's a tiny photo, let's look at the big one. There we go. Oh, I quite like that already. I mean, to be fair, Skaven. Skaven have taken up a little, they've like gnawed out a little hole in my heart where I just have grown to love the aesthetic. Like, I've always quite liked Skaven, but they've steadily and slowly eaten away at me to the point where I frequently think about starting some sort of Skaven force, not particularly because I necessarily want to play Skaven, but because they're really fun and they have really fun miniatures, and this is really no exception to that. The armour looks really nice, we've got a good number of trophies going on there, a good number of skulls hanging off by the eye sockets. It does make the middle of the model a little bit busy, but I don't know, I think I'm okay with it. I still quite like it. Got a good number of spikes on the armour as well. There's quite a bit of spikage going on there. I do like the back banner. I mean, let's be honest, a good back banner, you can't go wrong with a good back banner, and this one looks nice. I'm not 100% sold on the, shoulder, I was going to say shoulder blade. It is a blade. The blade on the shoulder. Not the shoulder blade as in the anatomical part, but the bit, you know what I mean, the sticky up bit coming off his shoulder pad. I do like those. They make the silhouette a bit more interesting, but at the same time, I'm not sure I'm a big fan of the way it's kind of pressed into the cloth there. It might be something that looks better from the other side, because right now it looks very sculpted into it. There's not as much of a clear separation between the two as I would want there to be, but it might just be that it looks a bit better from like the back. That's only a small criticism though, because the rest of it I actually really like. The design of the sword's really cool, the claw on the other hand is pretty cool. The claw being held in the other hand is nice. There is a nice mix of cloth, metal, and of course you've got skin and fur texture with the Skaven. There's like a lot going on with these that I really like the contrast of them. He's got a little rat friend that's sort of perched up there as well. The rat friend looks a little bit like, looks a bit 2D. I'm not really sure why. It looks quite flat, but that just might be the angle that the photo's been taken at. I mean, that might also explain that interaction between the blade and the flag. It might just be that the perspective that this has been taken from is flattening certain details, because the rat does kind of look almost like an embossed 2D image, as opposed to being something that is 3D, which it will be, because, I mean, it's on a miniature. So, I don't know, it's a little bit odd, but I think this might be one of those ones where you need to turn it around. You need to give it a spin to properly get a feel for some parts of it. I like how ragged and tatty the cloth is. That's good. I mean, it always looks nice on Skaven. When you've got like a bit of cloth, a bit of cloak going on that's been kind of gnawed at and it's been torn into pieces and stuff, I really like that aesthetic, and they do it really well on the Skaven. And again, with the armour not being pristine, you've got these little nicks and stuff in it to make it look damaged. The armour, by the way, painted super nicely. Those little light spots to give you that sensation of the light glinting off it, that's good. I like that. They've painted this really well. Which isn't a surprise, to be fair. They usually do paint them really well, but there's just something about this one that is, I don't know, it's just sort of leaping out at me a bit. Much like you don't want a Skaven to do. So yeah, Clawlord Kettek Throatbite, I don't know, he gets the seal of approval from me. I like him. Looks good. For 40k though, we've got Genestealer Cults, and we've got a Primus, who is known only as the first of the faithful. Okay, before we shift over to the bigger image, I can't remember what that gun's called, but it gives me such heavy, 70s, 60s, 70s sci-fi vibes, where the laser guns just look super dated. They all look kind of like massive syringes with a pistol grip. It kind of feels like that, but I really like that for some reason. I'm not really sure why. Does it say what the gun is? No, it just says immensely sealed duelists. Fine. and that it comes with a choice of 2 head options. So you can either have a sinister mask, or with their hybrid mutations in full view. Okay, but where's the mask then? I really want to see the sinister mask, because I bet the sinister mask looks really good, but it's not in the article, which is a shame. Again, I like the pose on this. The pose is cool. The claws over, well, like the sort of metal sheath over the claws on one hand is nice. The sword looks really awesome. I really like that. Super organic looking. I don't know, that's just really cool. I mean, Genestealer Cults just have a really fun aesthetic anyway. Same thing with Skaven, actually. It's the same thing of the faction is so really nicely defined, and whilst there might be little bits of it that, you know, are not dissimilar to other factions in terms of, like, perhaps weapons or just the way the armour might sit in terms of, like, how damaged it is, stuff like that, they are just so uniquely them. At a glance, you just know what it is. The kind of uniform of bits of, like, industrial and mining stuff going on with the Genestealer Cults has always been really fun. This looks really good. I like this a lot. That belt with those, like, it almost looks like shells or cartridges or something in them. It looks really cool. The gun I do like a lot. Feels super retro. I just wish I could remember what it was called. The mix of that kind of mining suit look at the top, but then with the long coat underneath is really fun as well. Little things like the belt buckle kind of swinging out is really nice. Also, the placement of that holster for the pistol looks really cool. Looks like we've got a pipe reaching up to the chest. I really want to know where that ends up, actually. So it comes out below the armpit. I wonder if it, like, plugs into that kind of either Vox thing or, like, rebreather style thing up in the neck. I'd love to be able to see that. Again, this feels like one of those ones where you need to spin it around a bit to get a proper look from all angles. The head does look decent, but I would really like to see the mask version of this, because I'm super curious as to what they've done with that. Again, just a solid miniature all round, I think. So both of them will be available for the first time at Adepticon 2025 from the 26th of March, and then can be found at other Warhammer events in the future. So, as is traditional with these, it's a case of you need to pick them up from events that you are at in person. I have seen plenty of people who have set up things whereby they will go and say, if you want one of these, let me know and I'll grab you one. So there are kind of like community-led efforts in trying to distribute these amongst people who maybe can't get to an event this year. But I think they both look pretty good. I'm curious to know what you think, though. Let me know what you think of those in the comments down below. In the meantime, feel free to click all the things. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you for the next one.